Hey guys, and welcome back to Pikmin 3. In the last day, we came to the distant Tundra, and we got separated from Brittany. We encountered the yellow Pikmin. We demonstrated a bit of a skip with a ball involving climbing up a hill and doing things in a way that you're not supposed to, as well as doing it the way you're intended. We also found that the captain's signal was coming from a monster, so presumably he may have died, but we're gonna find that out today.
Time to go save his ass.
Well, when you're the captain, you have to take the fall.
And the throat.
Be digested for me, please. Alright, so, because we spent the last day basically just setting things up, today we're gonna get to the meat of everything else. Like I said, the most time-consuming thing in this game is basically building bridge parts, which I hope you're a fan of, because there's quite a lot of that in this game. We also basically know exactly where we're supposed to be heading, since we went ahead and pushed the shoebox to give us the shortcut. I want to spend the first few seconds here just gathering some fruits, as well as opening up some other things that you may think are actually inaccessible.
There's something uncomfortable about this creature.
Yeah. Well, for starters, that's not how you're supposed to fight it. But I won, so we take that. We just take those. Thankfully, if this was Pikmin 2, they would have absolutely died. But because they can resist electricity better here, they managed to survive. I absolutely do not recommend fighting it the way I did. It's best to wait until after it finishes short-circuiting. And even though that I locked on to the mushroom there, I still ended up having some of the Pikmin fall over. That's just what happens sometimes, even when you have a big number. So up here we have the cannon larva, but it's gone now. But the reason why I want to focus up here is because if you can look on your left, you can see that there's a path that connects up here. You're not supposed to be able to get up here until you actually use your leaders to bounce off a mushroom and cross over the path here, but if you can see the two rock Pikmin in the back, they're actually breaking the crystal in the background, which is good. I had the rock Pikmin move the pellet and the monster out of the way so that way I can break the crystal. And that is how you get a lime earlier than you're supposed to. Do I feel bad about it? Not really.
It's not the biggest skip you've done so far.
Yeah, it's really not like a game-breaking anything. I also wanted to adjust the corpse here to make sure there wasn't anything under there. It wasn't, it's just doing that.
Oh, I thought you were just really annoyed by it wobbling.
I mean, you could do that if you wanted. For me, it was just like, I couldn't actually tell if I had a Pikmin stuck under there or not. If I paid attention to my numbers, I would have found out that no, it was actually just fine. So, since we pushed down... I called it a shoebox, it's actually a shopping bag. Since we pushed down the shopping bag, we can easily go back to the cave that we unlocked in the last day. So for this, because it's so dark in here, I want to demonstrate the way you're supposed to light up the area. We saw this giant Foss bat, they call it. We saw the bat in the previous day, but we didn't really do much with it. In fact, I relatively ignored it. Brittany herself, I believe, even referred to it as, oh, what if that is the captain? Which, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, she doesn't know about this planet. When you throw your yellow Pikmin and activate any light bulbs, you're able to get basically a free hit on this thing. But it also tends to spit out this poison. Much like the fire and the water, you can reel them back. Interesting side note, if you were to actually get white Pikmin here and have it attack that, the white Pikmin actually totally get affected by the poison.
Huh. So, like, did somebody mod in the white Pikmin here?
Yeah, they basically, because like I mentioned, the white Pikmin and the purple Pikmin are in this game, but in multiplayer only. They basically modded it so that way they could be in here, and the white Pikmin do get affected, and it does kill them, which is strange. Then again, I'm assuming they just didn't implement that feature for single player. So I'm pretty sure there are poison, like, little spouts and gates in the multiplayer. So, the reason why this is kind of annoying is not because you have to gather the bridge pieces and because you have to light up the room, it's because it's time consuming. So, you not only have to avoid him while you're building the bridge pieces, you also have to make sure that it's not eating any of the other Pikmin, that you actually did get all the bridge parts, because if it starts vacuuming the other Pikmin, there's a chance that they'll stop doing what they're doing, and that makes the bridge part disappear out of their hand, and then you have to figure out which pile of the bridge pieces they were building that you have to go back and fix. We're gonna go in another timeline and skip actually lighting up the room because we can't properly fight it yet. And we're gonna line up Alf in a way that lets me throw him up to this cliff right here. And basically we can just skip building the bridge entirely. And we can throw the yellow Pikmin up here. And we can just send him to that big battery up there. And yes, that is a car battery. Thankfully, our friend over here is ignoring me just long enough. And these 4 Pikmin are staring at me. There we go.
So do you have to activate the car battery, or can you just activate the smaller batteries to beat the Fozbat?
You can activate the smaller batteries, but I think for the most part, if you do it that way, it takes longer, and I don't think the bat actually, like, goes to certain areas where you can actually hit it and stun it, like where the other batteries are, because you would essentially have to throw your other leaders around. So, what you're seeing is actually the gameplay. There's nothing going on with your internet or your settings on YouTube or anything. This is lagging like hell on console. As for why it's doing this, I don't know. I actually don't have an answer for you. See, I tried Googling to see what was causing this huge lag spike, and at first I thought it might have been my trick, but I have recording footage of me performing the little skip, and nothing happened. So why this lag is currently occurring, I can't actually tell you. But I decided to leave it in because, well, the fight was going pretty well, and I figured, well, if it slowed down, I have more than enough time to talk. The Fozbat is not too difficult of a fight, especially since we just lit up the entire room. The reason why we want to do that is so that way we don't have to keep constantly going around and lighting up all the other switches. And also, this is kind of what I was talking about, where I wasn't really sure if you could do it that way. You probably can, but sometimes it has a tendency to just land on rocks and just kind of perch itself. If it lands in a place where you just can't reach, well then you have you really don't have any other options other than to light up the rest of the room. But thankfully, it's not too hard of a fight. You basically see everything it can do when it's prowling on you.
We've all had dandruff like that.
I also like that it just kind of goes out like the same way a moth goes into a bug zapper. Like that little bump was just enough to kill it. And it turns out Captain Charlie is okay. Somehow the Copites are able to survive days of digestion. But if they're anything like the Hokatatians, Louis is able to survive on a planet with no Pikmin and eat other bugs, so whatever.
Maybe he was just the world's worst tonsil stone.
Perhaps. So, now that we rescued Charlie, we actually really don't have a reason to stay here anymore. Other than gathering fruits, of course. We'll be more doomed than we already were. By the way, I was digested and I don't really care. I guess swallowed whole for days, but...
Good thing my whistle is still sterile.
He also apparently found a data file from Captain Olimar inside of the bat. So, hard to say if Olimar himself got eaten, or probably Louis.
Probably Louis.
Probably Louis, but he probably didn't even care or mind. He probably he took a nap as soon as he was inside. So, now that we have saved Charlie and we have that data file, our new goal is actually to locate Captain Olimar. So, now we get to have a bit of a meeting between our protagonists. Unfortunately, they have no idea where Captain Olimar is, but since that's our goal, that's gonna be pretty fun to find out. I also decided to finally pick up a boss corpse for once. And I can assure you that this lag is gonna end very soon. It turns out in order to clear this lag, if it ever happens to you, one of your characters just has to leave the cave. This is me pausing the screen and trying to see if this will fix it. But it didn't.
It would have been great if the lag lasted the entire day. Oh, there it goes. Oh, yeah, no, it's back again.
See, like, I was tempted to do a retake, but I thought, maybe this could be funny enough, and I just kind of left it.
I mean, it would have been great if it lasted the entire day and you still kept it because you just did not care.
I feel like by that point, you have enough reason to crucify me for making you watch that. I purposefully leave Charlie there, because, like with the grapes and bridge pieces, Pikmin will always return to that spot. And there we go, gameplay is back to normal. So, since we already cleared our main goal, we're going to be spending the rest of the time on our day gathering up fruits that we can currently access, as well as getting some other neat stuff like data files. Going back to where Captain Charlie first crashed, we're able to find more data files. And the more you find these, you kind of start to realize, man, Olimar's actually a really cool and very generous guy.
Sure, but how does he know anyone will come here again?
Good point. I don't know. I guess he just really wanted to make sure. Maybe it was for himself when he just crash-landed again.
For when he inevitably hits something so hard he forgets who he is.
Yeah, he...
It's only a matter of time at this point.
You know, I can actually feasibly see that as a Pikmin 4 plot. He doesn't remember who he is, and he has to relearn everything with the red Pikmin. He has to find out if he actually is married. So since I brought the boss corpse to the onion there, I finally was able to cap out at 100 Pikmin. Most likely, if you're playing this for the first time, you probably capped out yourself a while ago. But since I tend to just do things in a way where I feel like I have enough, I didn't cap out just yet. You can only have 100 Pikmin on your field at one point, so it caps out from that point, and when you put more things in the pellet, it ends up sprouting out more Pikmin inside the onion. It's really useful and handy, like, say for example, if you have like 80 or so, and you see that a bunch of Pikmin are bringing pellets to your onion, if you can outrace them and get to the onion before they can bring the pellets to it, you can actually, like, force more Pikmin out, so that way the onion sprouts out the Pikmin for you, so that way you don't have to actually go and pluck them out yourselves. It's actually kind of a neat strat you can do whenever. And now that we've finished digging out what we were doing, I'll admit this is actually the first time that I ever got this upgrade. I didn't do it in my regular playthrough because I didn't actually explore here. So when I was recording, I bumped into this and I was like, oh, I mean, I knew that was there the whole time because I'm a genius.
Also, I can't think of any situations where you need it.
Yeah, that's also another thing. It feels very optional. It is optional, but it feels... Remember in Pikmin 2 how, like, when you got the upgrades, it was, like, usually a reward for beating a boss or something? And if you were trying to get everything, you would pick up all the upgrades you could get. Here, and this kind of happens later on in another area, it kind of seems like this time they had the upgrades kind of be an afterthought.
Because there aren't as many obstacles, we don't find those fire spouts anymore.
Yeah. Like, I think we found, like, some earlier in the previous day, but now that I think about it...
Like, there was that fire slug enemy.
Yeah.
But you're not really at risk of walking into it.
That is true. So, I don't know, I guess I just felt dividing the work into 3 and the other new mechanics were more appealing. Because to be fair, like, your Pikmin are gonna get way more damage and hurt than you are. We have 3 health bars. Actually, now that you bring that up, when one of your characters, if their health depletes to 0, that character's knocked out and you can't use them for the rest of that day. I have never, ever had any of my leaders ever go down, because they just don't really take damage. It's easy for you to just avoid getting hurt. Sure, you'll get bit every now and then, but you don't really take much damage when it happens. So, since we're currently gathering up the other fruits, another thing I want to do is, because I've been ignoring these for a while, is gather these berries.
Ah, what now?
Get used to me being stopped a lot in this day, by the way. Because when you bring something to the Drake, it always gives a nice little explanation and it stops you, but since I'm gathering a couple of other things right now for the first time, I'm gonna keep getting notifications from the Drake.
An instruction manual for clothes. That's low.
I love the instructions. It's not even actual instructions.
No.
It's just like, you won't get hurt. You won't get electrocuted.
It's so the jacket knows what to do when you're wearing it.
Instructions, put on. Oh, alright, thanks. So, since I was gathering those berries, if you remember in Pikmin 2, there were a set of berries that we gathered, and when we had enough, we got ultra spicy spray.
Ultra spray sauce.
Well, it was spray sauce because I said it wrong that one time. How many years ago was that?
That was 2011.
So, speaking of getting interrupted, the berries that the Pikmin are gathering are actually not for you this time. So even though the main goal is to get all the fruits, these berries are not for the leaders. These are actually for the Pikmin.
I would like to see them try, though.
Yeah.
We're drinking straight lemon juice.
we're drinking all sorts of different juices from fruits they've never had before, so I don't see what's stopping them here.
I mean, how does the ship know that the spicy berries isn't suitable, but anything else is?
That is a good point, and I kind of wish, since the whole reason why Brittany's even on the team is because she's the botanist, she's the one who will let us know if we can actually consume things. I don't know if she's actually brought on just to, like, second guess, or, like, if the ship says something incorrect, she's like, yeah, actually, we'll die if we eat that.
Because she never protests.
No. But then again, there are lines of dialogue that later on she'll spout or it makes sense that she's not really protesting. So we go back here where we first encountered the yellow Pikmin, because behind the crystal are kiwis. And if you also saw, like a bit earlier, there was a little ledge that I could have thrown an owl for Brittany to, but we unfortunately don't have time to explore that right now. It's a little, like that sigh wasn't like, ugh, oh god, I don't have anything to talk about. It's not that. It was more of like, I hate when I don't have enough time for when I want to do things. But then I realized that when I want to clear things in Pikmin games, I end up wanting to do like 1,000 things at once.
Yeah, you get forced into pacing yourself.
Yeah. So if anything, I say this game is stressful, but really I'm my own stress problem.
Yeah.
Because it can get stressful, like, if you get overwhelmed by, like, too many things at once, or, like, there's something you didn't account for, and like, the characters are like, oh my god, your Pikmin are dying! Also, they gave me a data file for a pellet posy, I think a little too late.
Yeah.
Also, I had to go out of my way to find that. I found that by accident.
Something you might have noticed when you were plucking the red Pikmin there, one of them had the bulb. That's because there's multiple ways for the Pikmin to slowly grow into the flowers, and if you just leave them in the ground, they'll eventually grow into a flower, but that pretty much takes the whole day.
Yeah, some people like to tend to actually leave their Pikmin there and gather them later in the day. For me, it more or less depends on what I'm currently doing. So now that we have, it takes 10 pieces of the red berry in order to make one ultra spicy nectar. Much like in Pikmin 2, you use that and it basically invigorates the Pikmin and it makes them way stronger and faster. Basically, it's very good for boss fights.
And if you're in a panic.
And if you're also in a panic, if, like, a giant bull bear just comes out of nowhere and spawns from the ceiling and ruins your entire take. By the way, that doesn't happen in this game.
I feel like it happened in 2, though.
Yeah, it absolutely did. So it's always a good idea to stop your Pikmin, especially at this point in the day, to get them to stop farming for more berries. Like, as neat as it is, it doesn't help when you don't have any more time and they're about to die. Alright, so this is pretty stupid on my part. So if you remember, we have the coat pad, and the coat pad lets you know exactly where Pikmin are when they're dying, or if they're lost or separated from you. So if you can see, my counter went from like 1 to 2. I also threw Brittany up here to get this data file. On top of that, don't worry when the characters panic and say yikes and stuff like that, it just means that they're in an area that there's no Pikmin around. So as you can see, I currently have 2 missing Pikmin. This is me stopping the gameplay and grabbing my gamepad to be like, alright, where is it? If you saw when I picked up the data file, you could see like a red dot nearby of one of the Pikmin that I was missing. But here, I'm scanning the area to see where the other one is, because I see that it says that the one is close by, but I'm missing 2. So I'm trying to find it, and well, there it is. Thanks, past me.
How did he get down there?
I have no idea. I actually went back and looked at my footage, and I guess at one point when we were gathering the orange, it just kind of fell over, or it didn't have anything else to grab. But here's the thing, the reason why I put that note for myself was because I actually skipped over it when I didn't see it, so I was like, well, I guess it just died. And the other red Pikmin that I'm missing, which was actually nearby where I was, I couldn't find it, so I just went, oh well, it's just 2.
I feel like a good possible upgrade you could get for your ship in Pikmin 4 is like a Pikmin signal or something, where as soon as the countdown starts, if a Pikmin is sort of in the area but not exactly in that specific radius, they could hear the signal and start heading towards the ship.
You know, that's actually a good idea, because it could still be completely dependent on whether or not you cleared areas, so if they start backtracking to where they were, if you just didn't kill enough enemies or anything, then that's still, like, a penalty on you. So that way it's not super easy to just use whatever you want. But I do like that. So, we actually gathered a plentiful amount of fruits this time. I believe from this point on I start pressing plus to skip.
Man, straight lime juice is even worse.
That is a fair point, I didn't think about that. At least grape juice is good.
That probably tempers it.
Yeah. Presumably if you drink it after the lime juice. What if one of them had a cut and they tried drinking the lime juice and then they just started bleeding? And they went to the other one, oh god, why don't we have a medic? Why don't we have a medic? Actually, why don't they have a medic? I think I mentioned it earlier, but for concept art, there were 4 characters. They were labeled as character A, B, C, and D. We ended up with Alf, Brittany, and Charlie, but there was a character who was just like a tall, lanky purple dude. He was character D, but unfortunately he didn't make the cut. I'm assuming his name probably would have been like Del or Delta.
Deleted.
Yeah, that's what it's for. So I'm assuming deleted didn't make the cut. I guess they thought having 4 leaders to rotate would have been too much to keep track of.
Probably.
Yeah, honestly, that does sound a little insane. Even having 3 sometimes, it's like, ugh, but it's doable. 4, I can't even imagine.
At the path we're going, since they're adding an additional playable character every time, maybe Pikmin 4 will have 4 characters.
Yeah. If anything, I think a neat thing would be, like, you're able to choose which leaders you want.
Or they could finally do online co-op.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Because it doesn't actually really matter which leader you're playing. They all play exactly the same. Like, one of them isn't faster or stronger or anything.
Yeah, which I think helps.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now that we rescued Captain Charlie, our goal is going to be to find where Captain Olimar went off to. Because, presumably, he may actually have our Cosmic Drive Key. And without that, the Copites can't go home.
Didn't we find a Cosmic Drive key in Pikmin 1? I feel like there was a key in that, or was that to unlock the challenge mode?
I remember that being in Pikmin 2, and it was just called the key. It was just a regular looking key, but I think that key might have been a reference to Super Mario Bros. 2. Like how you would pick up keys overhead, and you would like open doors, because it looked like it was in a very similar shape.
Maybe.
But yeah, I remember that, just unlocking challenge. But that would be a cute little thing, though, if, like, Pikmin 2 was taking place during Pikmin 3. Like, on one hand, it's like, yay, a company is, like, currently getting out of debt, and then, boo, this planet is dying, you heathens!
I mean, they don't quite sync up, but that would be funny if you somehow found their key and you got money for it. Because that would mean that we sold their key. We still have to give it back later.
Yeah, maybe Pikmin 4 will be just saying... It takes place during Pikmin 3, and it's just you and Louie and the president, and you're just accidentally making things worse for the Copites. Like, you build a bridge, and it's like, yeah, cool, now we can cross through this. But, like, building the bridge required, like, destroying some part of a wall that they needed to cross through. Now it's like, oh no, we have a waterfall coming in! If only we had some sort of bridge to cross. Or, like, you gather a fruit before they do. You don't even, like, eat the fruit, you just sell it for less.
Did we sell any fruits that we found? Like, did we find fruits in Pikmin 2?
I think we found, like, a couple.
We found a leaf.
Yeah, like, we found a leaf. I remember we found, like, mochi balls, and I also remember that we found, like, a sausage.
That's true.
And according to, like, some of the analytical things that Olimar and Louie can say, Olimar implies that they actually did take bites out of those things, and they think that it's tasty. But it seems like the Hokotatians are omnivores, where, like, the Copites just can't handle something like that. I think it was either day 2 or 3. Alf questions Brittany on, oh wow, you ate vegetables? Like, really? Good god, did you die? So the Copite palate seems to be pretty weak.
They're basically babies. It can only be sweet. Well, except for the lemons and the limes. So I don't really know. I guess they're just straight fruitivores.
I think they're just dumb. Like pretty much. Not the... Because they're, I mean, obviously they're smart enough to be engineers and botanists and physicians or whatever, but they also let their planet go to shit because they had an overpopulation problem and they didn't know how to feed themselves.
So they're us.
Yeah, pretty much. Copite is actually Earth 2.
We shrunk really far.
We've come a long way to our own extinction.
Their bodies must be very good at processing vitamin C. Just turn it into everything, convert it into protein, into brain matter.
It does make me wonder, like, because there is one thing I always wondered playing this game was, okay, so if you send these three guys, like, because I know we send, like, sparrows out there to, like, detect food. So you send these three people with rations to an undiscovered planet. So what's the rest of the planet eating while you guys are just messing around? Because it takes days for you to solve Pikmin 3. So I'm assuming they have their own food? Or they're just starving themselves while they wait for you three to come back?
It's probably like it is on Earth right now, where millions are technically starving, but we're fine.
Maybe.
We're fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, it's their fault. They don't have a lack. They lack planning. The narrator even said it.
Kopai, that's not the problem here.
Man, we do have a lack of planning on Earth. Yeah, we are. We are Kopai. We actually are.
Crap pie.